everybody. It's Chris from the Evermore YouTube channel, home of the Newcastle United podcast, and we're back with another special episode, just a short episode really where we focus in on one of our players in detail. And I'm really excited about doing this episode because I'm focusing on a player that we've all taken to our hearts. Yes, we're talking none other than Captain Fantastic himself, Kieran Trippier. So we're going to get stuck into some stats on Kieran in a minute and just look at the impact that he's made during his short time at Newcastle United and just how important he's become as a player to us. But just before we do a little bit of housekeeping, if you haven't already, please click the like and subscribe button. We'd love you to come and join us. We're sitting on about 1887 subscribers. So it really helps push us to that 1900 mark, then hopefully on to 2000. All free content, this 2 live shows a week and pop-up videos just like this for all your Newcastle United content. And, just talking about the club and talking about the players that we all love. And I don't think there's any other player we love more than Kieran Trippier, to be honest with you. We're going to look at some stats in a minute that Mark's bashed up on his super-duper stats computer. But just a little bit on Trippier. It's interesting because you sometimes get these players that come to your club and you know they're good players and you see them from a distance. When he was at Spurs, we all thought, yeah, he's a good player. He's a decent right back. He's good at set pieces, that kind of a thing. Obviously playing for England, we thought, yeah, he's a good player and everything else. He goes to Atletico Madrid. He has a fantastic spell there under Simeone, wins La Liga, which is very uncharacteristic of a team like Atletico Madrid to break that Real Madrid and Barca kind of streak. But when he comes and joins this project, and when he comes, that day on the 7th of January 2022, when he becomes the fulcrum, the one that starts it all, starts a new revolution, and we signed Kieran Trippier for £12 million, which right now seems the biggest bargain possibly we've ever made as a club. And he comes here. It's only when he's at your club you realise not just what a great footballer he is, but what a fantastic professional and leader that he is as well. I mean, from the minute he's got here, he's just oozed every inch the captain from his very first interview, the way he conducted himself, even after, we got beat by Cambridge in his debut, which was devastating for many people. A lot of the salty fans outside were pointing the finger and laughing, saying, I can't believe Kieran Trippier's gone there. What a basket case. But he's just grown in stature, on and off the pitch. And, he is wearing a captain's armband now. We know Jamal Lascelles obviously is still the official club captain, but Kieran Trippier is pretty much Newcastle United captain now. Every time he plays, he does wear that armband. And, he's just a sensational footballer. But we're going to have a look in a minute and just drill down into some of his stats and his key strengths and show you how valuable he is to this team. So let's get stuck into that straight away. So as I say, Mark's done his brilliant stat slides here. And as you can see here, we're talking about a high quality player. Just looking at the stats there, you can see that Kieran's played a total of 15 games for Newcastle United. We've got some really interesting stats actually as well in terms of what that presence means to us as a club. But we'll get into that in a minute. So you can see there, 15 games, 3 goals, sensational free kicks as well in those goals. I mean, iconic moments really in such a short time with the club. The Everton free kick, the City free kick, the Villa free kick was probably messier, but I mean, those first 2 that I mentioned were just iconic, really. That, even if Kieran does nothing else in his Newcastle career, which I think he will do, those free kicks will go down in history as some of the best goals we've ever seen, and the atmosphere around it as well. But you can see there just kind of his total career. He's got 15 games for us so far, 3 goals, 1 assist, 872 passes in 15 games for a right back is utterly phenomenal. We're going to have a look at some of these passes and where they go in a minute. But out of all those passes, he's got a 71% pass completion rate, which is sensational, really. 40 crosses, 76 progressive passes. You can see his tackles there, 27 tackles. He's won 17, so 50% of the tackles won. Obviously, a lot of blocks, a lot of interceptions, a lot of pressures as well. And you can just see he's an all-action player. This debate rages on about who's better for England, Trent or Trippier. Yes, we might have black white blinkers on here, but I think most England fans at the minute would be taking Trippier over Trent Alexander-Arnold because he can do everything, as those stats show. He can defend and he can attack as well. But you can see here just from the kind of percentiles. Now, we always do this for rumour has it, if we're ever linked to a player. And if you were looking at these statistics, pardon me, I just have a cough there, get the old cold brewed. But if you look at these statistics, if this was a player we were trying to sign, we'd be salivating over this player in the comments, but we have signed this player and he is our player. But you can see there, this is for a right back in terms of his stats per 90 minutes against the other top 5 right backs, in Europe at the minute. And you can see he's right up there. He's in the kind of 86th percentile for goals, 64th percentile for assists. For passes, he's in the 86th percentile. Key passes, he's in the 98th percentile. Key passes into the area, 95 percentile. Progressive passes, 92. And interceptions, 73, which is utterly sensational. It just shows you what an attacking outlet he is and a creative outlet that he is. We sometimes wish that we had two of them. As good as Miggy's playing, if you could have a Kieran Trippier right winger and the Kieran Trippier right back, I think we'll be absolutely set, for the entire season. But just talking about what Kieran brings to us in terms of his worth on the pitch. I mean, you can see from the heat map there, he's up and down that right-hand side. I think this season you can see he's been more involved kind of in both halves of the pitch, probably a lot more in the attacking third as well. And that's shown in the kind of, the passes and the chances he's created as well as the goals that he scored. But in terms of, some of the statistics that are around him at the minute, it's just utterly sensational. There's no other player that's created more chances from set plays in the Premier League this season than Kieran Trippier. That includes your Kevin De Bruyne's, your Phil Foden's, your Bruno Fernandez's, all these fantastic, sensational players, your Odegaard's at Arsenal. Nobody has created more from set pieces than Kieran Trippier, with 11 chances created, and not one player, again, with all those top players, your De Bruyne's and everybody else, and your Thiago's, nobody has put more passes into the opposition box this season so far than Kieran Trippier, with 124 passes. And you remember, this guy is a right back and he's 31 years old. This is utterly sensational form. It really is. I mean, keeping Kieran Trippier fit for us is a massive thing. That's the big thing that we need to concentrate on. And if you can keep Kieran Trippier fit, my God, we've got a hell of a footballer on our hands there that could really take us places in the next couple of years. But in terms of his worth to the side, in terms of his essential inclusion into the side, these are just some stats we pulled up, from a Twitter page here, just to give him a shout out. It was Michael Pomar. So he come out and he said that this is Trippier when he starts. So 14 Premier League games started, 7 wins, 6 draws, 1 loss, goals for 25, goals against 12. And in that time, Newcastle United have gained 27 points. So that's 1.93 points per game, which would equate to 73 points a season. And that's Champions League form. So that just shows you how essential Kieran Trippier is to this side. I mean, yes, there's some red bits in there, but it's not really too much to worry about in terms of tackles. He doesn't put as many tackles in because he doesn't have to really. His positioning is so good that he's able to intercept the ball. He's able to pick out passes, get himself in the right positions to receive the ball away from the opposition before he has to physically make a tackle. But this season he has been surrounded by a lot better defenders as well. He's had the likes of Sven Botman in there as well, I think, which has been a massive help. Obviously, Fabian Schär's form coming back, as well as Dan Burn as well. So, they make more of the tackles, I think, than Trippier does. But he's become such an attacking outlet for us with that wand of a right foot. And it's been utterly sensational. We've called this episode One Hell of a Trip, and it really is. It just felt like a good time to pause for a little bit of reflection on just what a good footballer that we have in this lad. And I think he sets the standard. I think he drags everybody up with him. Even at the weekend against Brentford, when you saw him looking at the camera, the VAR screen, taking the piss a little bit out of Ivan Toney, and then he turns around straight away and he's telling everybody to calm down and start again and let's go at this team. We can win this game, and that's exactly what we end up doing. So I think the stats speak for themselves. His influence to this side is absolutely incredible. It really is, and he's a focal point for us. He's a top player. Yes, sometimes Bruno might get the headlines, or Callum Wilson, maybe Alexander Isak, I guess, back and start scoring. But there's no doubt in my mind, I think in anybody else's mind on the Evermore squad, that Kieran Trippier is so valuable to Newcastle United. And we thought certainly a player focus. This is something we're going to do a little bit more of. Potentially we'll be doing one on Miggy Almiron as well in the next couple of weeks and his upsurgence in form. But I had to do this on Kieran Trippier because, credit where it's due. He's coming to this club. He's been absolutely sensational. He's pulled everybody else up alongside him. As I said, he's raised the bar. He's raised the standard. He's a leader. He's a winner. And he's one of the best attacking outlet players in the Premier League with that wand of a right foot. People are so scared to give a free kick away 20-odd yards from goal for us now because we generally have a world-class free kick taker. and it isn't just the free kicks, it's everything about his game. So long may it continue. Thank you so much, Kieran Trippier, so much for the work you've done so far. A brilliant signing, possibly the best that we'll ever make in the modern time. We've talked about, Botman being the new company. I know Lee says that, but, Kieran Trippier is the one who started it all. And, at the minute, he is the man, he is the leader. Roll on the weekend. Would love him to smash one against Manchester United at Old Trafford as well. That'd be a perfect way, to sign up the rest of the week here for Kieran Trippier. But yeah, so this is Chris just signing off with the player focus. I hope you enjoyed it. As I mentioned at the start, if you haven't already, please click that like and subscribe button. We'd love you to come and join us. All free content, pop-up videos like this as well as the live shows. Keep your eyes out for some more player focus videos going along on the Evermore YouTube channel. But until then, let's keep supporting that team of Core United. We'll catch you later. Cheers, guys.